and welcome back to Boring Dad Gaming, where today we're going to be playing some more F1 Manager 2022. So things are going pretty well. We've got Lando Norris in 6th in the Constructors and Ricciardo in 10th. I think we're 4th, aren't we? So we're exceeding our board's targets for the season. And we've got the Canadian Grand Prix coming in 4 days' time, so we'll see how well we can do there. I'm just quickly going to go into the drivers because I can't remember if we had any development points to use. I think probably not, but always worth checking. Similarly for the staff as well, they do. Oh, here we go. So T Shuang does have a development point to use. What should we stick it in? Now I think I've read since I filmed the last video that underfloor is the part that has the greatest impact on your car's stats. So I'll put the point into that. Got a performance rate development point here for Gian Piero as well. I mean, he's really good at feedback and really good at pit crew management. What does communication do? A higher rating means faster affinity growth between the driver and the paired, the engineer and the paired driver. Or do I just stick it into pit stops? I might stick it into pit stops, you know. I think that having faster pit stops is probably worth more than getting this up, which is going to happen anyway. None for Ricciardo. It's going to be quite confusing having a Ricciardo and a Danny Ricciardo driver. Pit crew, how are they doing? Front and rear jacks is doing okay. They're pretty decent across the board. We'll probably just keep that where it is. Facilities, remind myself where we are here. We've got a bit going on there. Cars. What are our current projects? So we've got chassis should be completed tomorrow, in fact, so we'll have that in time for the race. And front wing. I'm assuming we can't get any other new projects going at the moment. No, okay, well let's advance till tomorrow and then we'll manufacture a couple of those new parts. A couple of new chassis. Okay, let's manufacture it. So we're only going to do 2 because I'm going to emergency it so we get it today. Like that, and then I'm going to manufacture a couple more at normal speed. These are the spares, so we'll keep it like that. Hopefully they won't smash their chassis on this next race. So let's go and put those in now. So we've still got our first version chassis. So this one is going to make us go a bit faster, accelerate a tiny bit quicker, slight impact on cornering. Yeah, I mean, increasing our top speed is valuable in itself, isn't it? So let's, we'll definitely do that. How are we doing for fast? But the rear wing, I think we're developing. And actually, now that chassis is done, maybe I'll get another underfloor going, seeing as that's quite good for car performance. There we go. How are we doing? We have to wait. We're gonna have to wait 13 days for any testing time. So, okay. And I think we have to. So. We shan't do that. Let's actually, while we're in cars, let's just quickly benchmark ourselves against the grid. So, in terms of the average performance, we're doing pretty well. For the individual teams, Alpha, we're better than pretty much now. Aston Martin, we're much better than. AlphaTauri, we're much better than. Haas, we're better than. Alpine, yeah, we've got a bit of a rivalry with Alpine, I think. That's us. In terms of Mercedes, we've got a couple of things better than them. But, I mean, Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull are just better than us. But we're probably... I mean, we're in 4th in the Constructors at the moment, and I think we probably are the 4th best car on the grid, so that's good. We're where we should be. Let's go ahead to the race. Race is going to be in heavy rain, which is going to be interesting. I can't remember if we've really had wet conditions yet. I don't think we have, so that's going to be an interesting one. Let's look at reach our sponsor targets. Qualifying in 10th, I think we can manage that, and I think we can reach Q2 as well. Fastest lap, I mean, it's possible, but we can't change that. But finish in 10th. Again, I think we can probably manage to do that. And then we got our streaks going here for a bit more money coming in. So I think we're just going to proceed to the race now.
Formula One is back in Montreal. Let's hope it's not going to be Groundhog Day. The local rodents have disrupted more than one race day here in the past. The Canadian Grand Prix is ready to kick off, and the only drama on the tracks we want to see is the best drivers in the world battling it out for a place on that podium. Gilles Villeneuve is a quick, free-flowing circuit in parts, with a stop-start aspect thrown in for good measure around the chicanes and hairpin bends. Medium-speed downforce will play a large part in avoiding the wall of champions and ensuring success at this iconic track. We're about halfway through the season now, and there's still plenty of time for everything to change. All eyes are on the teams and how they tackle the rest of the year. What will happen this weekend? Only time will tell.
Alright, so here we are at first practice. So all our practice and qualifying is going to be in, non-rainy weather, but then heavy rain for the race. So that's good. We're going to remember to switch to Theo this time. Get some experience for our young reserve driver. Car parts, how are we doing? Are we going to switch any stuff around? Yeah, let's put the old engines, etc. into the practice session cars. And we'll save the good stuff for the race. That's at 22, so I probably won't do that. We'll keep using this gearbox. I'm just going to bump up the number of laps so that they don't come in prematurely. He's got quite a low quality engine. Suggests to me he may have had has he had a crash in that? Put the old ERS in. Right, that's dangerous now, that gearbox to use, so we'll keep using the one that's currently installed. We'll bump up the laps by a few. And I did have a comment that I should be reducing the pace mode and the fuel usage down to minimum for the practice sessions. Just it's going to be easier wear on the various car parts, so that's a good idea. Let's go back. No, we'll keep this on. We've got lots of softs, so we'll keep those on. Into P1.
Radio check, radio check.
Out we come. And I'll send Norris out too. And we're just going to speed up the cars, and then when we come back we'll see how we did for this setup. And remember, this is probably going to be bad. It's just our starting go to kind of try and dial in the setup a little bit more. Right, we're already at 51% on car 1 there, so let's call them in. And 53% on car 2, so we're already not miles and miles off a good setup.
Okay.
So let's have a look.
It's pretty even.
Traction's quite easy to change. We can move that in fairly big chunks. Cornering's a little more difficult, but we can kind of move the traction a bit more. So we'll give it a go at that. The others are good, so we don't want to be a million miles away off where we were, but a little bit closer would help. Maybe something a bit more. I'll get the top one a bit further back. And then we've got straights, which isn't too hard to change. It's just a question of which way do we take it. I think let's go this way, because that seems to be affecting these more in the way I would expect. Cornering could be better. Right, yeah, let's give that a go. We'll keep the same tyres on. They seem to be wearing quite well. Wait for Norris to come in. Taking his time. Right, here we go. And similar, really. So traction we want to move up towards this way. Cornering, do the same with. Straights is probably going to want to go that way. So let's bring that in a bit. Let's nudge that slightly. I feel like I should be trying to move that more, but we'll see. We'll see how we do with that one. Let's go on the same tyres. And when we come back, we will see how that's set up. Theo can come in. He's got 66%, so we've got a bit more on there. And I'll fast forward a little bit just because we're waiting for... Here we go. Is it coming in yet? I mean, to be fair, Norris did go out a bit later than Theo, so that's probably why it's taking a bit longer. Let's have a look here. What can we do? So that's bad now. It's also telling me that that's the best result for that, so, you know, we need to move that even further across. Maybe we could try just going to the other end of the line. In terms of traction, that's bad. Wait a minute, did that kind of move? Yeah, that actually did move it a bit. Move it a bit more. We need to be mindful of the top line, but that's actually optimal. We can move this in a bit. And then there's the cornering. So if we bring that in a bit. The traction, I feel, isn't going to improve that much. But everything else might. So we'll go with that for now. He won't be going out again this session, so it doesn't really matter what tyres he puts on. Let's just fast forward a little bit for car number 2. 74%, so even better for that one. That's not bad for a second go. Let's see how we get on. Okay, so the traction there needs to come over quite severely. Well, we know it was bad when it was halfway, so maybe we'll try and not move it that much. Maybe we'll stick it there. Again, we've got the top line is optimal. We've got a great and a good on the cornering, so we might need to move that slightly. And then we can move that back a bit. We need to move that back a bit. We have the straights as well. We'll see. Let's give that a try anyway. So when we come back, we'll be heading into P2. Okay, so we're preparing to go into P2. We're going to leave the same car parts on. We know that our car setup's untested. I'm just going to bump the laps up a little bit again, because I just hate it when they have to come in prematurely and they haven't finished their feedback. You can always bring them in early, is the thing. So let's go straight out.
Radio check.
Yep,
Send
radio
out
is
Ricardo.
good. Looks good.
Send out Norris. And when we come back, we'll see how we get on this later setup.
On tools and what we can look at.
Everything's pretty stable.
Yep, okay.
Alright, thanks Danny. So he's at 76% confidence. We're slowly getting there. Hopefully with this next one we can make a bit of a jump. Norris still out. Okay, well it definitely feels like we're getting there, doesn't it? So with the straights, we just want one nudge for that, I think. With the traction, again, maybe just one nudge on that. And that's kind of moved naturally anyway. We can move braking stability maybe just so it's in the blue area. Oversteer. It becomes a question of where we put it. So if I send it there, it's kind of acting against the other things. So let's just leave it there on the very edge of that. And we'll see how we get on with that setup. It's annoying they're sending back a fresh set. So a bit of, just to mention quickly about the giving back tyres. There's some debate as to what happens, but as far as I can tell, at the end of each practice session, I'm not sure about qualifying, but at the end of each practice session, you give back 2 sets of tyres to Dunlop, effectively. You can see here it's got the little arrow here turning to the left. So what it does is it gives away the 2 sets of tyres from each practice that have taken the most wear. So, and if there's only one set like I have here, it kind of defaults to taking a soft, I think. Now I'm not sure if that's the true of P2, P3. But what I might do here is I might, having worn down this set of softs, I might put on the mediums. So that we're giving away one of those. Because in the race, we'll probably go medium hard. So as long, these are locked anyway. So these are probably the race tyres we're going to use. But I want softs for the qualifying sessions. So that's what we're going to do there. We'll just wait for Norris because I think he's pretty close. Here he is. That's 89%, which is pretty cool on Norris now. So we'll bring him in. Probably only minor adjustments to make on this. Braking stability, I mean, that's fine. That's the easiest one to change, really. We'll just stick that there. Maybe there. Now, we don't have any optimal stuff, so I just debate it. Maybe, yeah, maybe we nudge that way. That's nudged that way. That's kind of there. We need to bring this in a little bit, I think. Ooh, but if I do that, it kind of moves those the other way. I mean, we can try it. We need to move the braking out again. Yeah, it's difficult. The straights and the traction are a bit difficult to sort of micro adjust, particularly the straights. Because that's the one that's got to move the most, isn't it? So maybe we'll try that. I think we're inching closer. Again, as before, we'll go onto the medium tyres for this run. And when we come back, we'll see how we do. I think we're getting pretty close to the feedback point now for Ricciardo's car. So let's just stick with him here until that ticks over. I'm hoping we're getting towards, you know, the final setup now. Oh, he's been on 4 out of 5 for ages. That's why I came back to him. There we go, 5 out of 5. 93 there, you see. Okay.
Everything's pretty stable.
Might be able to just tweak that very slightly.
Copy that.
Oh, there's a crash. We'll stick with it. They might show us the crash. We'll stick with him for now. Did we get a replay? Oh, it was Norris! Oh dear, oh dear.
Watch this. We're looking at Lando Norris. And that's a big smash.
Was it not the Haas that took him out there? I think it was. Right. Well, there's no point waiting for Norris's feedback to come in, is there? So your engine's stopped. Terminal engine. Oh my god. So he's... Well, I guess it could be worse, because we are on our sort of practice engines. So if he's written that... Oh, and the gearbox. So I mean, if he has written off his powertrain, it's not the worst news in the world, because some of those bits were getting quite low anyway. Wow, he's completely wiped out, isn't he? Bloody hell. I mean, some of these... I hope some of the parts are okay, because... Wow. Because I think for some of those we don't have spares at the moment. They're being manufactured. Ooh. Ooh. I think all we have to do is nudge that way. Just nudge everything in a little bit. We can tweak that slightly. There. Well, I think that will be good. When we come back, we'll see if Norris is alive. And if his car's alive, and if he can do P3. I mean, I'm sure he will, but the question becomes, have we got enough spares of those particular parts? But when we come back, we'll see what's going on. Alright, so we're here at the end of P2. Yeah, it was Mick Schumacher took him out, that's why he's got that penalty. Ho-hum. I guess we should go and have a look at Norris's car and see what's going on with it.
After a day of free practice yesterday...
So, going into P2 now. Still fine weather. Car parts missing, I'm not surprised. Wow, look at that, everything. Well, he's not going to be able to get through the season on one ERS, is he? So, we're going to have to buy a new one of those at one point. At some point. And they cost $1 million, each powertrain part, and you also take a grid penalty for using a new part. So, not ideal. And that's all Mick Schumacher's fault. Don't put any blame on Norris for what happened there. He was just driving. But it is unfortunate. It is unfortunate. He's still not... Well... We'll see this out, because he's getting pretty close on that. So I'm not going to up his lap count. As for Ricciardo, we've got a new setup for him to try out. Let's just go on a hard for this session. I mean, I'm hoping that we're pretty close, and we may leave him out to get a bit of track acclimatization, but you know, we've just seen what happened to Norris, so you know that's the other flip side of the coin. Leaving them out to gain track acclimatization, good, but the longer you leave them out, the more chance of something like that happening, and you know you're wiping out a car. So, yeah, we'll make a judgment call on it.
Ready, check.
I mean, as soon as we know that Norris's setup's okay, I'm tempted to keep him in, because he's going to have to make those powertrain parts last a long time now. I mean, it seems inevitable we're going to have to at least replace that ERS. We'll see what we can do about the gearbox and engine. Here we go, we're 100% setup confidence. Perfect. So that's what he was just getting to the end of when Schumacher took him out. We're going to call him in. I don't want anything else to happen to him. He's fine. He's what? I think he's only about 50% acclimatization, but that's fine. We're actually... Oh, no, we'll come back. It can take a little while for that to finish going. So when we come back, we'll see how Ricciardo gets.
Any help with the balance at this stage?
Here he is. Got to Ricciardo to 97%. So now it becomes a question of what do we do with him? Well, what I might do is just leave him to complete the end of this run, and then we might just call the end of the session. So I'll just let that happen, and when we come back, we'll be heading into qualifying. Right, so here we are. Bloody Mick Schumacher. So we got 13 out of 15 in terms of performance bonus, which is pretty good. Pretty good. I mean, we could have left them out a bit longer. I was disinclined to do so after that accident, I must admit. So we're going to go into qualifying now. We're going to put our fancy new qualifying and race parts in the car. ERS. I might leave the ERS in, actually. Gearbox. Yeah, we'll come on to the next one. It's fine. We'll do the same thing here. Oh, we've got the end. Oh, God. Really hate losing that, but we're going to put the 100% engine in. And we'll just probably have to buy new powertrain parts at some point. Might get away with the gearbox. So, that's good. Let's start qualifying. Going to manage qualifying. But what I'm just going to do is I'm going to have it on the automatic setting, I think. I was testing around with it a little bit and in my other campaign, and I couldn't really notice a difference between what I was doing in control of the cars and qualifying and the AI. I think all it does is the same thing I do, which is just, slow outlap, switch everything up to max for the flying lap, and then back down to minimum. So I think that's probably fine. Let's just speed up the outlap a little bit, and then we'll follow them along for the flying lap. Oh, I got the flying lap now. I don't know really where we're hoping to come. I would imagine for the fourth best car on the track, we would hope to be sort of 7th and 8th. That kind of position, which would put us in Q3 and a decent position on the grid. So I'd be quite happy with that. But you never know. I think in qualifying as well, you have to sort of time it so that you're avoiding the big clumps of cars coming on their outlap. Like we've got, I'm not sure who it is it a Red Bull ahead of us? They might let us pass, hopefully they do. We've already had a
big accident, yeah.
Oh, I hope it's not us.
Okay, understood.
There we go, yeah, he did actually let us pass. Stroll on turn 1.
Yellow flag ahead, yellow flags ahead.
Let's
Here's
watch
the
that.
replay.
See what Stroll did at the very beginning.
Thank goodness nobody else was
Bonk.
involved. That was
That's
a
an
big
interesting
crash.
one. Oh, Stroll. I'm in the second season now of my Williams save, and Stroll is actually on AlphaTauri, and annoyingly, he's doing a bit better than we are. So maybe it's the car more than the driver that's letting him down here. Right, so let's see what our times are. We got 1:12. Norris a bit better. So we're going to quickly check what the sort of track record is. Bottas 3 years ago, 1:13. So we're a half a second faster than the track record. I have noticed that's not necessarily a brilliant indication of where you'll finish in the qualifying, but there we go. So we'll let these times come in now. Won't take too long. Okay, well, we expect to be behind the... Well, being behind the Alpha Tauris are not great. Although Norris is third still, that's pretty good. Got Bottas in front of Ricciardo. Going to see a Red Bull time come in now, and all the signs as well down there. Let's just, while we're doing this, reconfigure the tyres. I mean, that said, Q2, Q3, maybe I'll keep... it's tricky, isn't it? We'll keep these tyres on because I don't think we're going to get knocked out in this qualifying round. I'm going to send them out for a second run now. And hopefully I've timed that so that they've got a fairly clear run ahead of them on their flying lap in terms of the traffic. Oh no, Norris just got stuck behind. Ricciardo there finished his, and Norris came in as well. I don't think their second run was faster. So let's just follow this to the end of the session, see where we end up. Looking decent. 8th for Norris. I mean, that's kind of what we expected. Ricciardo underperforming a little bit there in 10th. But not bad. We'll make it through to Q3 if we can repeat that. Make sure we've got the right tyres on. We do. So yeah, let's go into Q2. Going to do it similar here. We're going to send out early for a nice clear lap, hopefully.
Yeah, confirm.
And we'll just leave it on automatic. I mean, it seemed like a fairly good result there. I probably couldn't have secured anything better just by manually putting the sliders to maximum. I think it would probably be pretty similar. But I have noticed a difference between simulating the qualifying and actually managing it like this. It does seem that actually managing it like this, even if you leave it on automatic mode, the results seem to be a bit better. Just from, you know, my inexpert testing that I've been doing. I don't know why that is, but there you go. I guess you're leaving it to the AI in terms of when you send them out and how many runs they do, and you know, maybe they're sending them out when everyone else is on the track and it just slows them down a little bit, possibly. But we're going to stay here with the flying lap. Have a look behind at Norris. There he is. It looks really close when they're here, but when you sort of look at the track view, they're a little bit further back. Right, should be coming in soon. So anything around the 112 mark, you know, 112 and a half, something like that, that seems to be a fairly good marker for getting through to Q2. Bit slow for Ricciardo maybe. Norris looks good. Norris should be through to Q2. Not so sure about Ricciardo. So let's just go to full speed now and wait for the other results to come in. It's just, for some reason, even if you keep the same tyres on, you do have to just reconfigure for some reason. Yeah, so Danny's... Well, we'll see. He's still got the Alpines and AlphaTauris and stuff. It looks like he's going to fall down, though, out of the session. Yeah, so let's send him out. Let's send Norris out. Are they going to pull out now? They might pull in front of Norris. No, we're clear. Oh, Ricciardo's got a grid penalty of some kind. I think they both improved on their times, though, so we'll have to see. That's it for the session. Let's just finish up. I think there's a good chance of Ricciardo dropping down, I think, honestly. But he's done it. 10th. We'll take that. Norris up to 6th. pretty nice. So he's ahead of George Russell at the cars I would expect to be ahead of us. Final qualifying session. Just quickly make sure the tyre is... Oh, okay, we got one back for qualifying, did we? It's interesting. Right. Let's go. And we'll do exactly the same thing once more. And what I might do is we've kind of seen Ricciardo's about 10th, so I'd expect him to finish last in this session. I might just take manual control of him for this, just to see if there's any difference. I suspect it'll be about the same. So he's kind of hovering around the 1 minute 12.7, isn't he? So see if I can do it any faster than that. I probably can't. I think when he gets to sort of just coming into this straight, just around here, I'll switch everything up to max and see if that improves his time at all. I expect him to finish 10th, I think. So let's switch things up. Back to normal speed. Alright, here we go. It's really hard to get a sense of how he's doing. I mean, anything purple here is just because he's the first one to do it, so that doesn't necessarily mean anything. See, I think Norris probably took the purple there. Yeah. So Norris is still faster than him. It was a personal best, though, on that section still, so, bodes well, I suppose. Come on, Danny, push it on that ERS. Alright, so what's your time? 1:12.659. So it's
just look after this tyre set though. Look after it.
A tenth of a second faster than his last qualifying session, which is good.
Recharge on.
Still behind Norris. So Norris still put in a good time. Let's zip things along and see where we are. We'll keep the same tyres on. Might be good to have an option of a soft set for the race strategy, although it's going to be very wet, isn't it? So that probably is less important. Ooh, he's 8th. Okay, well, that may have sent him out slightly prematurely. We'll send Norris out again. Norris is 5th, though. Very happy with that. I guess it doesn't hurt to try and put in a better time. All the cars are going out now ahead of Ricciardo. Norris is 4th. Let's see where we are when everyone's finished. Hamilton and Verstappen behind. I kind of expect them both to overtake him on the second ones, and they did, so he's 10th still. But Norris is 6th. So, yeah, I mean, considering I said, just in terms of where our cars are, 7th and 8th is kind of par for us. So Ricciardo underperforming a little bit, but Norris overperforming a little bit. And there's only less than 3/10 of a second between them, so it's not too bad. Well, it's time to go to the race.
The grid is packed, so there's electricity in the air.
That doesn't sound safe. Heavy rain. Okay, so let's have a look. When's the rain starting? Not until about halfway through the race, interestingly. So I think what we want to do is to start on the hard tyres and see if we can get them all the way there. Get them to where the rain's starting. Maybe about there. And it's going to be heavy rain, isn't it? So I think we probably want to go to a wets. And if we do, and it's going to rain all the way to the end of the race. So that maybe looks alright. With Norris, it's going to be something similar, unless we can keep the mediums running to them. I don't think we can, though. I think that's a step too far for them. Have to conserve them. I prefer to be able to, you know, thrash the tyres a little bit. They are, as I'm filming this, they have just announced that they're going to bring out an update that's going to address the tyre compounds a bit. I know that's people in the community are fairly unhappy with how those work at the moment. There's not a great deal of difference between the tyres, and they don't really lose any performance until they hit this 30% mark. So it sounds like they're going to be addressing that, which is good. And it's going to become, that update is scheduled to come towards the end of September. I'm sort of filming this early mid-September, so it's a good 2-3 weeks away for me. So maybe something by the time I'm doing the second season that might be applying. That'll be good. Great. What's happening? It's the same one, isn't it? I don't know why I did that. So starting on hards, it sounds fine. Adjustments locked. Confidence. Fuel. I like to just give it a little extra laps just so we can go a bit faster on the engine. I mean, again, with the update, there might be something that's not feasible anymore because of any tweaks they make. But for now, it seems to work quite well. Right, here we go. Canadian Grand Prix. And as I said, when I played this Grand Prix in my other campaign,
the drivers are ready and
there was a lot of incident. I think about 5 drivers got wiped out and had to retire.
And it's lights out.
So we shall see.
Away
We're going to follow Norris as he's higher up the grid. Starting in 6th. Oh, has he got the Mercedes there? I think he's ahead of Hamilton. Perez and Verstappen in front.
Well done.
Yeah, very well done. I mean, Norris has won a race already, and I think
McLaren gain a position.
he's done generally pretty well in the last few apart from that as well. So, don't know if he'll podium. I would like to think he might have a chance of that. Seems to be outpacing. Is he outpacing Perez here? A little bit. I think he is ahead of him now.
Good job.
It's a very good job. I concur. Keeping pace with the Rebels at the moment. Well, the Red Verstappen and the Ferraris at the moment. How's Ricciardo doing? Still in 10th. No real change for him. Ooh, we're mixing it with Verstappen now. In terms of drivers, I've been thinking about what we're going to do drivers-wise for the second season. So I think we are going to see out the season with Ricciardo. That's fine. And then what I'm going to do is I might offer Norris a new contract at the end of the season as car number 1 driver. And we'll recruit someone to be our new car number 2 driver. Not quite sure who that will be yet. I think we'll keep Theo as our reserve driver. We'll probably for a couple of seasons at least, just levelling him up quietly in the background. But we'll see who's sort of willing to join us, I guess, at the end of the season, depending on where we finish in the constructors. I'd like to think maybe we could go for George Russell or someone like that, perhaps. I do like Gasly as well. Gasly always seems to perform a lot better than his teammate, whichever team he's in, which suggests to me that he is just generally a very good driver. So I do like Gasly. He's my number 1 driver in my Williams save, and even as Williams in the second season, he got second in a race. There were a few crashes, but yeah, no, generally very good. And his teammate, I've got Joe as his teammate here, and Joe just is terrible. Considering Gasly's consistently finishing
DRS now active.
minimum 10th, often higher. Joe is always sort of around 17th, 18th. And they've got identical cars. So I might look to replace Joe. But yeah, anyway, in terms of this, so maybe hire Gasly, maybe look to maybe hire Russell, potentially. Probably not Joe. Whose stats are actually pretty good, but for some reason he seems to underperform where he should be. That wasn't very good. We were very close to Verstappen and quite far ahead of Perez then, and we've, I don't know, tried to overtake, failed to do so, and had to slow down a little bit. 3 laps in, so I think let's just go a little bit less aggressive on the, well, yeah. A bit less attacking on the tyres. Still aggressive.
Understood.
No movement on Ricciardo.
Back it out. Back it out.
What we'll do, let's go to double speed now. The race is stretched out a little bit. See Verstappen and the Ferraris are just speeding off now, and I expect Perez to actually overtake us as well at some point. Now we've had to slow the pace down a little bit. Gonna have to slow that down a little bit as well. In terms of, I mean, assuming everyone makes it to the end of the race, I would hope that. I don't know. We could finish, 7th and 8th. I would hope. I think Ricciardo looks like he's going to be a bit too slow for that kind of position. But you never know when the tyre change is coming because of the rain. Which is around about lap 35, so a little bit to go. Actually, Perez has fallen further back. He's behind Hamilton now. The front 3 are just absolutely speeding away, though. You can just about still see them. But that's okay. Their cars are much faster. We know that, so that's not a problem. I mean, considering at the start of the season we were sort of, I remember what we were finishing like 14th, 15th, something like that. We've made some big improvements to the car already. There's some more on the way. In terms of development, what I think I'm going to do is get to like tier 3 parts on this year's car, and then put everything from then into research, so that what research does. So the parts we're using in this year's car, they don't influence next year's car at all. But if you research, that will improve the starting quality of next year's car. So hopefully we'll have time to do at least 1 batch of research on each of the parts, maybe 2. We're going to need a bigger design centre, I think, because we're only able to do 2 projects at the moment. Ideally we want to be doing 3, because then you can, there's 6 parts on the car, so you kind of do it in 2 batches. It doesn't quite work out because some parts are quicker to develop and some parts take longer, but roughly speaking. And then you want to improve it again and you get more engineers. So we'll be limited to 3 projects but 10 engineers, so that'll take longer for each of those. But then when you move into, I think it's the tier 4 design centre, you can have 15. So each of those projects can have 5 engineers instead and just get them done a bit longer. There we go. Hamilton's and Perez have gone past us. I'm not entirely surprised by that. I'd still be happy with 6th, quite honestly, and we seem to be, we know that we're a better car than the AlphaTauri, so that's good. So we're probably, apart from Russell who's down there, we're probably where we should be in terms of the quality of our car at the moment. Arguably even higher. 7th, 8th would be kind of where I'd expect to be, because Russell is underperforming. If Russell was sort of above us with Hamilton there, then we would be 7th, which I think is roughly where we belong at the moment. So yeah, we're doing all right. In terms of the constructors, I don't think we'll be getting close to Mercedes. So I think we should be well clear of like Alfa, Alpine. So a comfortable 4th, which is exceeding our board target, which would be very good. I'll probably push the fuel a little bit at this stage. Now with the wet tyres, I found it really is a bit of a guessing game in terms of when you put them on, like how much water there is on the track, and B, which compound is best. Like it says heavy rain, so I've gone with wets, assuming that the track is going to be over 4mm. So dry is 0 to 1mm. 1 to 4mm is classed as damp, so winters are best at that stage, and anything over 4mm of rain is where wets are best. So my view, I mean, this is my view of the weather. It doesn't tell me what how many millimeters of rain we're going to have on the track. Which is what I want to know, really. Here we go, track water. So where's the y-axis? I mean, it's all very well having that graph, but what is that?
McLaren with a great overtake.
How much rain is that? I mean, it looks like from... yeah, it looks like we're changing it here. But I think inters are going to be best until, say, lap 38. And then come that sort of lap 38, I think that's when the wets are going to be suitable. So we're going to have... I mean, we don't have to change it then. If we would try and change it more towards, say, lap 36, 37, and then put the wets on, I think that would be more suitable. But then we'll be racing on hards when it's going to be best for inters. So... I mean, how hard would it be just to have a proper y-axis here, where it actually tells you what the millimeters are? So I would like to see something like that added. I think that would make it a lot easier. At the moment, it is still a bit of a guessing game. I mean, I'll just keep these tyres on as long as possible, I think. What I expect to happen, what I'm hoping to happen, is that at that sort of lap 35 point when the rain starts, that the cars, other AI cars, are going to come in and change to inters, and then 4 laps later, when it's wet, they'll come back in to do wet. So that's what I'm hoping to see. What I'm therefore hoping is that if we can just get the hards going that couple of extra laps before we put on the wet tyres, that we'll have a bit of an advantage on the number of pit stops. Because the AI does react to the weather conditions, but I don't think it plans ahead necessarily. So if it's a millimetre, then all the cars will come in and pit and put the inters on. And then when it goes to 4, they'll come in and put the wets on and so on. But I don't think it'll do what I'm doing and look ahead to saying, okay, if we can just manage those couple of laps on the tyres we've got, then we'll gain an advantage. I don't think it does that. So yeah, so hopefully we can push up the standings a little bit when that happens. God, we're already nearly 8 seconds behind Leclerc, look. I'm pleased that we overtook Perez and Hamilton again, though. It's when we're doing the wet laps is when I expect to see some crashing incidents and stuff like that. Hopefully not involving us. God, I hate to keep talking about my Williams save, but I had a race where it was Gasly, I think, who was on the final lap, and he was going to finish second, and he spun out, crashed, and had to retire. It was heartbreaking. But then he did podium a race or two later, so that was all right. But it does mean that I'm just constantly nervous until the end of a race now, because, you know, an incident like something minor like a lock-up or a spin can happen and just knock you back, even potentially to the end of the standings. There they go again. I think it's when the DRS is activated. And or you could have a crash and just retire your car, and it can be on the final lap, and you can be in a good position, and in a points position. Which is not good. Alonso's in the pit. I wondered, did he have an incident of some kind? I didn't see anything come up. Oh, I don't know what he's been doing. Because he's not put inters on or anything, although it's not going to rain for 20 laps yet, potentially, so... Fuel's looking okay, tyres looking okay. Ricciardo's going to position, that's pretty good. He's overtaken Gasly after I was bigging Gasly up. We do have a better car, though. Oh, he's trying to take on Bottas there. I've seen quite a few people on the Steam forums saying, nerf Bottas, he's doing too well in an Alpha. He's always, you know, right up in the... Not the top part of the table, but, you know, that sort of second tier, above mid-table. I don't know how he's doing in real life, but considering where the other Alpha driver is, it just seems like he is consistently way, way, way above where he should be for the quality of car he's driving.
McLaren gain a position.
I wonder why Verstappen is just that much faster than Perez. I don't think it's necessarily driver quality, because I've seen Perez winning races ahead of Verstappen. I don't
And
know.
McLaren with a great overtake.
Oh, Ricciardo's up to 8th now. Let's actually watch
Let's take
that.
a look at the replay. Daniel Ricciardo involved here.
He does, just overtakes him. Nothing fancy. Very nice. So he's kind of now at the point of the standings where I would expect him to be placing, that sort of 8th position. We're back up to 4th. It probably won't last. Might just bring the fuel down a little bit. Ricciardo's up for now. See, this confuses me. Norris has 79 kilograms, right? And 0.6 laps. Well, okay, he was on a kilogram more, but lasting less. It seems to have evened up now. Let's knock this down a little bit. Both cars. So yes, that kind of makes sense, that. Ooh, we've got some pits. Ooh, this is interesting because they're pitting, and it's not even raining yet. That's interesting. I mean, we're well behind Leclerc, but we're now 2nd, and we've got the wet tyre changes still to come in about 16, 17 laps time. Let's actually speed it up even more just for this sort of middle section of race while we're waiting for this sort of stuff to happen. Because there's not, apart from changing the fuel levels when needed, there's not a lot to be doing right now. We know the tyres are going to be easily enough to last.
Red Bull moved up.
Yeah, I just think all those cars that have already pitted and Perez is going in as well. Like 10 laps, it's going to be raining. So Leclerc, there goes Leclerc. This is potentially huge because, like I was saying, I mean, when it starts raining, they may get switched to inters.
Is that a lockup?
And then when it gets wet, switch to wets. So, you know, they could be lapping twice more, potentially. We'll come back around lap 35. Oh, here we go.
Okay, I had a lockout.
Oh, Ricciardo's locked up.
Yeah, copy.
I mean, he's still 5th.
They've locked up and gone straight on.
Nothing serious. Doesn't look like he's damaged his car. They're talking about coming into pit windows, but it's not going to happen yet. We're going to wait. We're going to wait till
So the rain that we expect to hit will be light.
light
Okay.
weather. Yeah. So it'll take a little while to go from 0 to 1. Maybe a lap. And then I think probably for a couple of laps we're just going to be on these hards and just trying to do our best. I'm hoping that these cars come in for inters. Well, let's just zip along a little bit until lap 35. Yeah, I know the pit window. We'll be ignoring it for now.
There's rain coming.
Okay, so lap 33, we've seen the rain start to come in. Leclerc's overtaken us.
Some rain starting now.
So we're looking, it'll be considered damp and conditions for inters when that gets to 1. Yeah, not yet.
Oh, and Ferrari
What's
just
going on?
gained a place.
So halfway. Three-quarters of the way. Thing is, because they're still on hards, I wonder if we do just...
You're currently P1.
Wow, we're lapping people now. We'll just lap Stroll. It's slowing down a little bit. So we're still technically not requiring inters. I think we give it at least one more lap. Where did we see it? Oh, okay, well, that might be enough for... Well, it might be enough for wets. I don't know. If this is still 1... Oh, well, it's actually lightened up a little bit. Oh, they're pitting again. Are they pitting for inters? I hope they do. That'll be amazing if they come in for inters, because they'll have to do it again. Here we go. Albon's put on inters. Vettel and Alonso and Vettel have put on wets, though. So there's going to be a bit of a coin flip as to what they'll put on.
Hamilton is in this lap. Hamilton is in this lap.
Come on, tell me what you're putting on. Wets, okay, Verstappen's on wets. Sainz is on wets. They're going for the wet tyres. And it's still not technically required. They obviously have looked ahead a couple of laps and decided that when they need them. But I'm gonna keep going on the hard compound until we've got a bit closer to needing the wets. God, Albon's probably regretting those inters now. I mean, these cars currently in the pits, I think they're going to go wets as well. It's still drying up a little bit. Okay, this is very interesting now. What's Leclerc on? He's done on hards as well. He's just pitted. He'd probably be pitting for wets. The track is still technically dry, so I don't see any reason yet to come in for the wets. We'll just do it when the track's... For now, I mean, hopefully as they're racing on wets that... what happened? Did he lock up or something? Maybe not. Let's just really push... Let's attack these tyres now.
Okay.
We want as much distance between us and the cars behind as possible now. See, yeah, Leclerc's on wet now.
Push.
Yeah, confirm.
It's still less than 1 millimetre. Right, it's getting wet now. So what's our... Let's just pause this. When's our next pit? It's coming up, so let's do that. Let's go on to wets now. And we're 11 seconds ahead of Ricciardo, so we can pit him as well. There won't be any clash there.
Box, and pit confirm.
So my hope that they'd have to pit one more time. I guess it kind of happened. Well, they've all actually pitted twice, and this is our only pit stop, all being well. So from that point of view, it's kind of paid off. I was hoping they'd maybe do a lap or two of inters, but they haven't done that. So we're coming up for the pit very shortly. Who was that? That was Ricciardo. No, that can't be Ricciardo. That's a Haas. That must be Schumacher, perhaps. Trying to take Norris out again. So here we go. We have a bit of time. I do expect to maybe be down to 5th or something, though, by the time we come out. Oh, we ran someone over there. We ran through someone there on a pit crew. He's dead. Right, how we doing? How we doing? Big gap to Hamilton. So we're 4th. We're 4th. That's not bad. That's kind of where we were anyway, wasn't it? So we haven't really gained. You know, I had dreams of perhaps them changing inters and stuff when it got wet, but didn't happen. But that's not too much problem. We can really thrash these tyres now.
We do not require any fuel liftoff.
Yep, understood.
In terms of pitting, I think that's probably going to be it for the race. I'd imagine that they're all pretty much set now for the second half as we are. Officially wet now, so the tyres are the right ones. I don't know if we really ended up gaining much from leaving it that extra lap or two. I was hoping to gain a bit of time, but I'm not sure that happened. So I think we're going to see a Red Bull and Ferrari podium. Might see some incident. But let's just speed things along slightly now. All that excitement's happened. I see Albon's come in again. Poor guy. I've also noticed some people on Reddit, they're having sort of like a Latifi challenge of trying to get him to be the World Drivers' Champion. Probably not from driving for Williams, but other teams. In my Williams save, after I sacked him, he actually hasn't been employed by anyone else since. Poor guy. There's a nice healthy gap between us and Hamilton. For whatever reason, we're just that much faster than the Mercedes in this race, but I think they have pitted twice, so there is that. Still no major incidents. Quite close to signs as well. And we, you know, I'm writing off a podium chance, but you know, there is potential for us to get one. It just seems like the Ferraris are that much faster than us on the straights, and everywhere else, to be honest. Norris is doing well though. Check in with Ricciardo. How's he doing? Quite a nice gap between him and Bottas. And a big gap, well, a reasonably sized gap between him and Perez, so he's fairly safe there at the moment, I would say. Trying to cut this distance, and we cut it on the corners, and then as soon as we get to the straight, just the Ferrari just takes off. I mean, as you'd expect, really. So over halfway now, 30 laps to go. Pretty sure it's going to be wet the entire way. Yeah, there's going to be no reason to change the wets now. I wish you could kind of just like highlight it and it would just tell you how many millimeters that was. I mean, if this is 5, that was kind of slightly less than 1, wasn't it? It would be useful. How are we doing? So, still that second gap, and still that 14-second gap behind as well. So we're kind of maintaining that, which is good. Down here, Rick holding firm in 7th. Have a quick look at those tyres. They are overheated. I mean, it's because we're driving at attacking style, isn't it? But if we've got any chance of a podium finish, we need to. And then we hit a straight and off he goes. I was bigging up the fact that there'd be some race incidents. There haven't been any that I've seen. Obviously, there was that big one in first or second practice where Schumacher completely wiped out Norris. I'll send in the bill for the powertrain we've got to replace. Yeah, I think we'll zip it along a little bit as well, maybe till the, well, assuming nothing happens in the meantime, until the last 10 laps, maybe we'll do that in real time and we'll see if we can have an impact, perhaps, in getting a podium spot. At the moment, things just seem fairly solid. If anything, we're moving ahead of Hamilton and the rest. Similar with Ricciardo, really. Rain's drying up a little bit. I think it's going to stay in the wet zone though. Oh, we got close to signs there. I think we get close on this corner. I think we corner very well. And then there's that long straight, and he just zips off into the distance. Isn't a lot for me to do at the moment. Holding those gaps fairly solid, but both cars are going that bit faster than the cars behind. You can see here there's that little bunch with Ricciardo at the back, and there's this bunch here with Norris at the back.
And that's the lockup.
Okay,
Let's
it's
see
been
what
so
happened
free of
there.
incident. Let's view the
Taking a
Vettel
look
lockup.
again, it involves Sebastian Vettel. Well, they've lost it. They've locked up.
And that's the most drama that we've seen in this race yet. Let's go back to fast time. Yeah, I know about your tyres. Oh, catching Perez. Or we were. I think it's a similar story for Ricciardo and Perez. Just, you know, catch up on the corners a little bit, but then on the straights just lose ground. Sector 1, was there something else? Oh, hang on. Are we going to get a little replay of that? Because I think something must have happened with Sainz. Because suddenly we're a second and a half ahead of him. Oh, it was a Stroll
Let's take
spin.
a closer look. Now let's have a look. It's Lance Stroll.
Oh, yeah.
They've spun the car. What a disaster.
Not a good race for the Aston Martins. I want to see, is it going to give us a replay of that overtake? Well, we're in the 10 laps anyway, so this is the point at which we wanted to just do the last bit in actual time. Barely see him back there. Still wet conditions. Ooh, can we get a podium here? That would be lovely. Well, the fuel's looking okay, the tyres looking good. In fact, we're attacking them, and look how long these wet tyres last. Slightly increasing our gap on Sainz. I'd love to know what happened. My guess is that he must have locked up or something, because he suddenly fell quite far behind. I don't know if there's anything going on that we can see. Tyres are okay. Hasn't pitted. Yeah, we're increasing our distance, aren't we? Well, we're coming to the straight now, so we're 2.5 seconds ahead of Sainz. We'll see where we are after the long straight. Yeah, so he was about half a second faster than us along the straight. But now we're coming into the section, the sort of twisty-turny sections where we're a bit quicker. So hopefully we'll see that gap grow. Well, this is the point of the race where I start to become quite nervous, because we actually have something to lose now. And so any lock-up, any spin is likely to... well, it will wreck our chances of a podium finish, basically. So we're back to that, up to 3 seconds ahead of Sainz now. So we're very good on those corners. We're actually about 0.7 seconds ahead of where we were ahead of him last time on this lap. Or last time we were at this point of the lap. Cool, so 3.3. We were 2.5 ahead before. Ricciardo's actually catching up to Perez, although I expect that gap to grow as he comes up to the straight. Look, on this map it looks like such a small gap, doesn't it, between us and him? Yeah, so it was 3.3, wasn't it? And now it's going to be Yeah, he's basically half a second faster than us on the straights. 7 laps to go. Loads of petrol, loads of tyre quality still. Still a wet race. I'm amazed no one's crashed yet. It was absolute carnage when I played this in the Williams save and it was wet. Yeah, see now we're pulling away on this section, the sort of first half of the lap, and then the second half when it's straight he catches back up a little bit. But you know, if we can hold it like this, it should be a good finish for us. I really like Norris. He just seems like one of the, obviously if you're not outside of the sort of the Ferrari Red Bulls, probably one of the best drivers in the game. I mean, people like Hamilton are higher in points, but I mean, you see for yourself, he's in a faster car and he's behind us. And I don't think that's entirely on strategy either. Six laps remaining, all looking okay at this point in time. I'm a little concerned about the fuel, but we'll keep an eye on it. It's still saying we should have half a lap extra. So 4.5 seconds now from the signs. If we go into the last lap and we've still got a massive lead, I'll probably just turn that down so that we don't run out of fuel. 5 seconds ahead now. I'm quite pleased our strategy worked anyway, because I mean these other cars did pit twice, because they started on, I didn't look at what they started on, mediums or softs I would assume, judged by when they pitted, whereas we knew if we could just hold out that bit longer and just do the one stop onto wets when needed, we're outperforming our place in the standings. I mean, Ricciardo's about par, I suppose, but he'd be lower down if he'd had to pit again, or if the other cars hadn't pitted twice. Five laps.
5 laps to go. 5 laps to go. Head down.
Head down. It's quite fun doing a race that's got mixed conditions. Like you had to plan out exactly when you were going to pit. That's sort of the optimal strategy. That was good. Don't really know what I'm looking at. So where are we at the moment? Where's Lando Norris? Here he is. So he's 10 points behind Hamilton, who isn't... Is Hamilton finishing in the points? Oh, he's up to 5th now? Oh no, he must... No, he was up to 5th anyway. I thought... No, it was Russell I was thinking of. So, yeah, we wouldn't overtake him if we finished 3rd and he finishes 5th, but I think we'd close the gap a fair bit. You know, Ricciardo's got 9 kilograms of... Well, 8 kilograms now of fuel left, and we've got less. Not sure why. Maybe it's to do with slipstreaming. I'm not sure. It's all looking quite good so far. Go on, Norris. If you can finish 3rd here, you'll be an absolute legend. Four laps to go. 5 seconds ahead at the point at which he's closest to us, so that's pretty good. I don't really see Ricciardo being able to overtake Perez. I'd like it if he could. I mean, he's not a million miles off, but I don't think he's really gaining at the points at which he needs to be gaining. Up to second. Which is interesting. Might slip this into defend mode.
And McLaren with a great overtake. Let's have a look.
Yeah, let's watch that again.
We're looking at Lando Norris.
That was a pretty slick overtake. Oh, we gave him a little bump as well.
They take it.
Very nice. I would be amazed if we can maintain this to the end, though. I expect him to blow past us now because we're on the straight. I think he's going to. We've got a little turn here. Chicane. He's still got the fastest lap. If we can stay ahead of him coming into these corners, I think we can grow the distance potentially. There we go. We're just that much closer, much faster in the corners. You can see we're growing the gap now. In fact, I'm tempted to take that on to deploy again because we should, in theory, grow this gap on this next section. Oh my! Oh no! I was going to say that wasn't Verstappen. That must have been Vettel, maybe. We're a second ahead of Leclerc now. This is really good driving from Norris now to overtake those two Ferraris. Right, so he's going to be about half a second faster than us on the straights. We know that. So it's about 1.4 seconds ahead at this point. We'll see where we are come the other end. Hello? I don't know if you saw that, but my monitor just went blank for a few seconds. I was praying the game hadn't crashed as we're coming into the penultimate lap. Actually, it's probably the final lap, yeah? Oh no, it is the penultimate one because, yeah, 2 more laps.
Focus for 2
I thought,
laps.
oh my god, if the game is crashed now with us in second place, I might, I might have rage quit the series there and then. Yeah, so we might be able to get the gap to more like 2 seconds going into the final lap. Would be rather nice. Oh, it's incredibly damp out there, isn't it? Let's go to the director's cam for a little bit. God, look at the gap.
Up there.
All right, we'll take a look at the Magnussen lockup, seeing as it's one of very few incidents.
All eyes on Kevin Magnussen here. That lockup could have cost them dearly.
Didn't smash the car though. Delayed him a bit. With the crowd cheering us around the hairpin. So this is where he gains, but we should hopefully have a large enough gap where that doesn't matter. Right, Verstappen's just kicked off the last lap. Still 1.8 seconds ahead of Leclerc in third.
And last lap.
Ricciardo's still steady in 7th. He's had a fairly solid race by his standards. 2 cars in the points, it's not bad. Got a spray coming off. 3-second gap going into the straight. Suddenly Schumacher appears and takes us out. Right. There we go. We'll stick with him for the final bit of straight. 3 seconds. Come on, Norris. Show us what you can do, buddy. Here we go. Second place for Norris. Very nice. Very nice finish.
Max Verstappen over the finish line and today's winner.
Switch to Ricciardo. "17 seconds ahead of Bottas, so I think he'll be okay." In for P7. Not bad at all.
Okay, that's the checkered flag.
It's a good day for the team. Good points.
Nice job. Fail 84, please, mate. Fail 84.
Alright, well the other cars are quite far back, so let's actually just speed things along here till everyone finishes. There we go.
Lando Norris can be proud. What a fantastic performance from him. A spot on the podium is exactly what the team deserved, and they got it. And after such a fabulous drive here today, it's no surprise to see this man land on the podium.
Good race. Not as much incident as I was expecting, but equally no incidents happened to us, so that's good.
For these drivers, they'll be taking home their trophies and a decent haul of points for their team.
Keeping good company there.
A fantastic result for McLaren there.
I agree, this was all very impressive. And it's obviously the work of a solid, well-run team.
Oh, thank you very much.
And after this result, the team is fourth in the constructor standings.
Which is where we were. So, there we go. Confirmation. Lando Norris gained 4 positions and finished in second. Wasn't a million miles off having a fastest lap, but obviously was a bit off. Stays steady in 6th. He's now within 7 points of Lewis Hamilton, though. And Danny Ricciardo's climbed up a couple of positions with that 6 points to be 8th. Look at the constructors. So we are now 5 points behind Mercedes. I thought they were further ahead than that, so we might have a chance at, catching them and overtaking them in the next race, which would be rather good. Points for Ricciardo. Norris. Didn't say any development points, but we'll just check that. Oh my god, so we lost £2 million in drivers' bonuses. For Ricciardo finishing 8th, he gets a bonus if he finishes 8th or higher. And £1 million for Lando Norris for finishing 6th or higher. Wow, okay, that's taking a chunk out of our earnings. Boardroom upgraded. Design center upgraded. Now that's a big one. That is a big one. We've still got to wait for the testing things to kick in before we can do any more parts, though. So let's just have a look here. Boardroom upgrade. So we're now a more attractive team. Race confidence gain higher, but we're doing well now. Oh, Arthur Leclerc. I presume he's not a relation. Oh, he might be. At 21 he's only 60, so I don't think so. We did scout him. We're going to have a quick look, but he's average growth potential, low aggression, so I don't think he's one for us. Design Centre, awesome. So we can have, yeah, 3 projects now, which is brilliant. But as I said, we're going to have to wait another 10 days or so before we can get those going. Do mention us. Finishing at Lando Norris, blah, 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 blah. Everyone's talking about McLaren. They sure are. Board saying we're exceeding performance, so let's just go and have a look at them. So in terms of race performance, they've been absolutely delighted with our last 4 races, starting with that win in Barcelona. We've been, you know, doing good since then. And yeah, no, it's been good. Didn't start off that well, but it's been a period of growth since then, which is good. I'll quickly check the drivers. I know it didn't say development points, but I've noticed sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, we go. There you go. Lando Norris has a development point now. So where do we put this? I'm tempted to go into defending on him. And we'll check Theo as well. See, Theo's got one too. I'm thinking accuracy. Let's get that up a little bit so he sticks to the racing line a bit better. I'll have a quick check in with our staff as well, see if there's any development points. See, yeah, we've got one here, Dirk de Beer. I don't really know what the difference of all this stuff is, so I'm just going to get everything as high as I can. So that's 83 for him. Nothing there. Nothing there. Cool. Okay, well, we're going to leave it there then. So thanks very much for watching. We've got Silverstone coming up next, and maybe Lando Norris can get a good result in his home race. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, then please do hit the like button on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. That would be amazing. And in the meantime, I'll see you back here for more F1 Manager 2022. Bye for now.